Welcome to Metaphysical Mama. I am Courtney, and today I want to talk about alchemy, about change and transformation, and we are all constantly evolving and shifting and alchemizing to our environments. And that is both on an individual level and a collective level. So, throughout eons of time, our Earth has witnessed and experienced different civilizations, different technologies, different structural systems, different weather patterns, different land masses, you name it. So anyway, I'm bringing this up because I had a session with a guy last week. It was a very interesting session. It was a QHHT. And it was about 6.5 hours long. So I hope to do it justice by kind of just filling you all in on the highlights. But it did take a couple of days just to kind of process and integrate all the information that did come through. It's a little different than some information that I have heard, particularly last year in working with a group where we were receiving information about New Earth. All right. So, and I've experienced my own sessions, multiple sessions. And so I know what I've experienced. I know what I've heard from other people's sessions. And so this was eye-opening and just another way to kind of alchemize and shift perspectives and go along with what it is that is coming in at this time. So I always want to be open to new information and just the fact that things do change. Okay, so a little bit of background is this guy's 46 years old. He currently works with plant medicine and with combo, which is peptides from a frog. The frogs are not harmed, but it is a process of burning just the top layer of your skin and then applying the combo. And it's a very intuitive medicine, so it works through your physical body and brings up and out what needs to be released. So very interesting. I have done it a couple of times. First time totally kicked my butt, not gonna lie. Second time was a lot easier. But every time you do it, it could be a different experience each time. So anyway, we'll have a whole nother session on that because there is a lot to combo and what this frog medicine can do. Okay, so this guy's had just a really magical life. I mean, synchronicities that he was telling me about and you just can't make it up. So it was fascinating to hear his life story. And also he has had the numbers 3, 6, and 9 that have been patterns in his life that have shown up repetitively. 3, 6, and 9 are like universal numbers and breakdown patterns of the universe. And if you study sacred geometry, you'll, get more into that. But it's really fascinating because now, he's working with animals, he's working with plant medicine, just incorporating the natural flow and rhythm and what nature can provide on a healing aspect if we work in harmony and cohesiveness with nature. Okay, so we did talk for about 3.5 hours. So there was a lot there. There was a lot of information. And then I got him on the table to go through the hypnosis portion. And we traveled in and out of different past lives. He was kind of jumping around quite a bit, but he was in different geographical locations each time. And he was always either like in or near a temple. Whether it was like in the mountains or the jungle or by a lake. I mean, there was just, it was fascinating. But then I asked, so we got that. And then I asked what was the purpose of being shown all those different lifetimes. And his higher self came through and said it was because that he was always working with the land and connecting the natural flow and the rhythm of the environment with the people. Okay, so also when going through his questions that he asked, that he brought to the session, we're, receiving these messages from his higher self, and he was told that his higher self works with the Council of 11. Okay, the Council of 11 is the foundational council for creating civilizations on Earth through patterns, symbols, numbers, and keeping those civilizations in balance and harmony. Okay, so I thought that was really interesting, and it makes sense too for what he is doing now. So within the Council of 11, he is like a master architect. All right, so he was on the Council of 11, master architect for the creation of Atlantis. So in the, let me make sure, I'm going to make sure I get this right. So with Atlantis, Atlantis was around for thousands of years, but towards the end, they kind of got away from their spiritual aspect of being in that natural flow and rhythm and balance and harmony as working with nature, okay? Nature is the connection to our almighty God source energy. It's just what is. It is in everything. It is our foundation of all. It is all that is and all that is becoming. Okay, so we even know, my mind's racing because I'm like, we know through other sessions that that Atlantis did lose its way, that it took on more of the scientific approach rather than, and got further away from the spiritual component. Okay, so within that council, his higher self was also the part that helped with the digression of Atlantis and knew that there needed to be this fall of Atlantis because Atlantis had lost its way. And even in the session, it was like he was sad about it, but it was a collective decision that they knew had to be made for the evolution of life on Earth to continue. All right. So from then he went on to help create the Egyptian days and lining up the pyramids with the stars. And I'm sure there's way more information that we could investigate there, but I do have to be, and I was so curious, I would like to just have asked my own questions, but we have to stay on track and get to all of his questions. So that was, so he took part in that with the Egyptian days. And then he was part of the this Council of 11 was part of the creation and foundation, putting into place the Mayan civilization, okay? So he was also a record keeper of the stars, which was bringing in information from the heavens on how to coexist with the heavens, the natural order and flow of life with the environment. So it was just absolutely fascinating. All right, so now fast forward, he is here as part of this Council of 11 and his higher source self to help usher in the new earth. All right, new earth is like ding, 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 ding. All the light bulbs went off, and I just wanted to know more because I have had my own personal sessions and experiencing going to new earth. I've also been a part of a group that we worked on a lot of this last year and other people's sessions and what information they were receiving from the information coming in. Okay, so with all that being said, the higher self did say to pay attention to weather patterns over the next couple of years because things are going to be shifting, that there's going to be old information that has been stored that will be released into this like new information that we can apply. And his higher self talked about how, the soul never dies, right? So the soul is eternal and goes on forever. So, but every on an individual level, everybody has their point of transcendence of when they leave the physical body and step into the next realm, and continue on in their journey. All right. So, but his higher self said that there will be this transformation and transcendence into ushering in the new earth, which is a beautiful, more peaceful, joyous, in balance and peace and harmony. Basically, our energies are upgrading, shifting, realigning, just like his higher self said, Earth right now is going through the dark night of the soul. And I'm sure on some level, we can all feel that, we call it the dark night of the soul when we have our spiritual awakening because our worlds just get turned upside down. So not only can that happen on an individual level, and we want it to happen on an individual level, but it also can happen on a collective level. It can happen in groups. It can happen in just different parts of the world at different times. It can happen globally, which is what we are existing right now. So, these times have been predicted into the greatest awakening of all time. All right. So what we are witnessing is beautiful, but is it like, okay, new earth, we're all just going to transcend and shift off this planet to a new planet? Or are we is Mother Earth herself realigning and shifting and adjusting and transcending and transforming her own alignment and energies, and we're just keeping up with that so that we can, the ones that are here to stay, can transform and transcend with her. So, and it all makes sense too, just from previous sessions and so much about the water especially, and land masses and weather patterns and tsunamis and earthquakes. And it's all very, and volcanoes, and it's all very tragic when people are affected. Absolutely. But then you look at the metaphysical component of Mother Earth, Gaia herself, and it's like, well, she's adjusting to the energies. She's breathing, she's realigning. So, I am interested to see more information coming in around this, and knowing too that in sessions, when you're in that quantum field, you are tapping into the infinite, where all the information and timelines and dimensions exist. So when we're there, it's not so linear, you know, we're tapping into information to bring forth into the now that can help us into the now, to help prepare, to help just in knowing what it is that is going on, you know, within ourselves and within collective and within personal relationships. I mean, there's so much. So yeah, it was really fascinating, simply because in the metaphysical community, and even in the QHHT community, it's been really almost like polarizing as far as the new earth and old earth concepts. And they're really, you know, it just is, and it's unfolding as it should. We as individuals are unfolding and evolving on a soul level as we should. And so I really just feel that, I don't know. I mean, going into my heart and listening to what I feel is that I personally resonate with, is shifting from what it was a few months ago to what it is now. And I feel like it's very, very purposeful on an individual soul level as to what each person needs to and desires to experience. And the whole process is just beautiful. I mean, you think about a butterfly, you think about the stages, you think about the stages of a frog itself. So, you know, going back to the balance and the peace and the harmony and alchemizing and the elements. I mean, and there's so much getting back to the basics of the foundational principles of where we should be aligning and what we should be aligning with. So as I'm sitting here talking, I'm just really kind of processing all of this, and going a little further than I planned on going or thought to go. But that's okay, because I'm sure that you all have lots of questions too. And please, please, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And even if you have questions that we can ask in future sessions to gain more insight and clarity, I would love that as well. So, you know, it's just when you look at the metaphysical, bigger perspective of the higher self and what your higher self is doing on a collective scale and how you're bringing that into your personal and physical existence is purposeful, you know? So, and there's always a connection. It's just harnessing it and bridging the gaps. So the more in tune that you are with your higher self and have that soul connection, just the better understanding that you have on yourself and for yourself, and even going forward and bringing forth that knowledge and wisdom and helping others. So I feel like that's it in a nutshell as far as as far as how it kind of all came together with the information that his higher self had to bring forth, and why he, you know, traveled to these different times and places, and how it is, you know, really kind of parallel to his life now. And I also want to say, and this is huge too, I forgot to mention this. And I do want to I want to have him or somebody on to talk about combo and the full-on abilities and effects on the human body, because they are currently studying 12 people who they've taken blood samples from after administering the combo and what it does to the blood. Okay, what they have found is that there is almost like a translucent component to the blood where it projects this rainbow. Okay, this is huge. And also they're seeing these little crystals formations in the blood. Okay, they take the blood sample before and after. So this is after administering the combo. Okay, this is fascinating because many of us have heard about like shifting and through the ascension process, moving into our light crystalline bodies. All right, moving away more from that dense 3D feeling, the heaviness, and letting that go and moving into this light space. So it's just, full circle and really fascinating. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. And I just wanted to, bring forth this knowledge to the best of my ability. And, this is just, it's information that is universal, that is source, that can be tapped into, by anyone, really. So if you resonate at all, and if you have the calling, then I would love to connect with you and conduct a session with you. And you can reach me at www.beginwithin.space. All right. I hope you all have a beautiful day, and God bless.